And with boxing, when it's at the elite stage, you can't play games.
without necessarily striving to win. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I told you. It's WWE. Okay? It's WWE, like I told you.
Crazy for multiple reasons. One, they have a huge size difference. Tank Davis, he's a lightweight, normally fights at 135 pounds. And Jake Paul, he's a heavyweight, usually fights at 200 pounds.
Floyd Mayweather confronted Jake Paul about the controversial no-knockout rule in his upcoming fight with Gervonta Davis. He criticized Jake for focusing more on selling tickets and creating entertainment than respecting the essence of real boxing. Mayweather argued that the rule makes the fight feel staged rather than competitive, stripping it of true seriousness. Still, he admitted both fighters know what they're signing up for, but reminded fans that boxing should highlight skill, discipline, and genuine competition.
But like I said before, they know what they're doing. Both brothers.
Wade Plemens on X pointed out, "I think we all knew this would be an exhibition, but the Florida State Athletic Commission saying they will display skill without necessarily striving to win using strikes and blows to the head or other full-contact maneuvers probably isn't the best way to advertise the fight." Oh. Known for his sharp takes on boxing, Plemens was quick to criticize the commission for softening the perceived intensity of the event. His comment highlighted how such framing weakens the excitement for fans who expect a true boxing showdown rather than a carefully managed display. By downplaying the competitive edge, the commission risks alienating die-hard supporters who value authentic, high-stakes combat. This criticism ties directly into Floyd Mayweather's response. Mayweather has always thrived on competition, even long after officially stepping away from the sport. Analysts believe his push for a showdown with Mike Tyson is about far more than money. For Floyd, it's about pride, legacy, and maintaining his place at the center of boxing's cultural conversation. With Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis capturing headlines, Mayweather brilliantly shifted the spotlight back to himself. Setting up a clash with Tyson ensured that the biggest story in boxing revolved around him.
Now that there's so many celebrities and so many people that are known, where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events, that's what kicked off the the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum. So there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is announced at this point in time with Mike Tyson in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime and actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson.
At the core of this situation is legacy. Floyd Mayweather, retired and undefeated, has little at stake in exhibitions. His aim is financial gain and maintaining his reputation. Jake Paul, still carving his path, leverages such spectacles to boost his name and brand. But for Gervonta Davis, the stakes are far greater. Each fight he takes now defines his career's direction. By prioritizing spectacle over genuine competition, he risks losing credibility with purists. The pressing question remains: is fleeting fame worth jeopardizing lasting respect and long-term legacy?
What is going to happen in that fight is basically the same thing as what's happening to Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford, except for that is a live action fight that is a real competitive fight. But the marketing of it is the same thing, and the fact that somebody is going to pay for it is more likely with Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson than it is with even Jake Paul and Gervonta. But I think that it really is an attempt to compete with Gervonta Davis by setting up a bigger fight than Gervonta Davis is having. And now I'm going to tell you this something else too. I would not put it past these people.
The Tank versus Jake Paul fight might have been enough to dominate headlines on its own, but Floyd Mayweather's latest move guarantees the spotlight won't shift away from him. For decades, Mayweather has mastered the art of remaining at the center of boxing's conversation, even when it meant stepping beyond traditional rules. His decision to face Mike Tyson highlights his unmatched ability to control narratives. He refuses to let Jake Paul's celebrity or Gervonta Tank Davis's prime overshadow his legacy. By arranging this fight, Floyd positioned himself as the sport's main attraction once again. The nostalgia attached to Tyson's legendary name, combined with Mayweather's undefeated record, creates a storyline that overshadows anything Jake versus Tank could offer. Meanwhile, the controversy surrounding Jake Paul versus Tank Davis continues to spark debate. The bout isn't sanctioned as an official fight, with the commission labeling it an exhibition. That distinction strips it of legitimacy, making it feel closer to a WWE-style spectacle than a professional boxing clash. With no knockouts expected and no official stakes, critics argue it is designed for entertainment rather than authentic competition. While such an event may generate temporary buzz and social media attention, boxing purists see it as a dangerous dilution of the sport's integrity.
Will face Gervonta Davis in an exhibition match. Quote, you can't do a fight like that as a pro fight, should be said. It'll be an exhibition fight, end quote. Similarly to the concerning location move, states that the main reason for this is the significant weight disparity between the two opponents. An exhibition is defined by Florida statutes as a boxing, kickboxing, or martial arts engagement in which persons participating show or display their skills without necessarily striving to win, using strikes, elbows, blah, blah, blah. So, the key word here is, key phrase, show or display their skills without necessarily striving to win. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I told you. It's WWE. Okay? It's WWE, like I told you. These are setup fights. These are rigged fights. I know Jake Paul gets upset when people say he ain't a real fighter and all that stuff. But I think the Mike Tyson fight pretty much showed everybody that, Mike was pulling back on his punches, and it just was weird to me. You know what I'm saying? Now you got Gervonta Tank Davis getting ready to sell his soul to go up in here and move around the ring with Jake Paul. I don't know what's going to happen on this. I don't know. But regardless of the fact, the fight is going to do well because it's going to be on Netflix. So everybody got Netflix, so everybody's going to watch the fight. So it's going to be like a wrestling event, basically. It's a fake, scripted fight.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi has been outspoken in voicing his frustrations over the Jake Paul versus Tank Davis matchup. According to Malignaggi, knockouts only hold true value when they come against evenly matched, legitimate opponents. He argues that manufactured setups like this one cheapen the integrity of boxing, reducing the sport to little more than staged entertainment. In his view, Jake Paul is being handed credibility he hasn't earned, riding the wave of spectacle rather than proving himself through genuine competition. During a debate with Chris Algieri, Malignaggi emphasized that while casual fans might be entertained by the hype, true boxing enthusiasts can clearly see the lack of authenticity. For him, the issue cuts to the heart of the sport. Authenticity and legitimacy point one of the central reasons this bout cannot be classified as a professional fight lies in the weight disparity between the two men. The Florida State Athletic Commission highlighted that the significant difference not only creates an unfair playing field but also poses safety risks. As a result, they sanctioned the contest only as a sparring exhibition, complete with predetermined rules and restrictions. This move illustrates the structural limits of boxing. Entertainment can only stretch so far before regulation steps in.
This, Paulie? Knockouts, dude. Knockouts. People like knockouts. They don't care if you're knocking out cab drivers. Look at Jake Paul's career.
You can manufacture that, though. You can manufacture
knockouts. You can't manufacture.
To a degree, you can. To a degree. I mean, Gervonta legitimately cannot get knockouts. I agree. He can punch, but there's a lot of limited knockout artists, though, man.
He's one of the least active punchers in the game with the highest knockout percentage of current heavyweight.
But if he was a real knockout artist,
current champion.
If he was a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best of the best. Felix Trinidad was a knockout artist. He was knocking out the best of the best. If you're a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best and show us how he smokes them. But the way we did when Felix Trinidad was doing it. You know, the way
Felix Trinidad was doing
it in his prime. Okay, say what you want about the Mike Tyson era. He knocked out everyone from 1986 to 1989. Everyone got knocked out. Everyone.
Well, by your standard, you could say that Tyson was to a degree manufactured, and Teddy Atlas was 100%.
Was there. Everyone that was there.
Teddy Atlas will 100% agree with this.
With the expense of
Witherspoon. That we're afraid of
with the exception of Witherspoon. No, but they all doesn't matter. He knocked them all out. There was nobody you could say in that era except maybe Witherspoon, who I contracted.
The same thing about
who had contract issues with King at the time. Except for Witherspoon, there is nobody Tyson didn't fight in that era. He knocked them all out. You can't say like, oh, but if he would have fought that guy, I don't know. No, with Davis, there's guys right now that have been hanging around for years. Yo, dude, when you gonna fight them? The lightweight division was stuffed with talent. Even at 130, it had a lot of talent when he was there. Didn't fight almost any of them. So it's not the same thing as the Tyson era. You want to say anything about Tyson era? Fine. It wasn't as high level or something. He still knocked out everyone. There was nobody there in that era that you can say Tyson didn't fight.
Didn't say it was related. It was the same as the Tyson era. Didn't say it at all. I was actually going to say the opposite when you talk about Trinidad. Trinidad is a bona fide superstar. And the way that he was, and like you said, he fought
him up and he knocked out.
And he was a knockout punches. No, of course. So that's a different thing. So is Sugar Ray Leonard. Now, you also have to compare it to your contemporaries. Nobody is selling, dude. Nobody is selling. No one sells tickets. No one has a following these days. There's very few fighters who actually sell tickets.
There's a push, bro. I was at
Canelo Alvarez.
I was at Showtime.
Canelo Alvarez.
But Champ, I don't want to keep cutting you off, but I got to because
they will push.
There's a push for certain people. I remember being at Showtime and even watching on HBO on TV. They're mentioning Saul Alvarez, who I didn't even know his name was Canelo at the time, as a possible Mayweather opponent when they were talking about possible Mayweather opponents. I'm like, I knew who the rest of the guys on the list were. Who's this guy? Who's Saul Alvarez? That he's going on, that you're putting him in a list with all these other guys that you were bona fide champions and high-level fighters.
Broadcaster Adid Oladipo argued that exhibitions make sense only once fighters are past their prime, not while careers are peaking. For him, timing is everything. Prime years should be spent chasing legacy-defining fights, not sideshows. Gervonta Davis canceling his Lamont Roach rematch to fight Jake Paul highlights how money can outweigh sporting merit. Add in the massive size difference. Jake walking around at 200 pounds, Tank at 135, and the fight becomes both intriguing and bizarre. Critics argue it dilutes boxing's authenticity, but supporters say it injects unpredictability. Former heavyweight Eddie Chambers reminded fans not to underestimate Davis's skill, noting that elite ability can neutralize raw size. Ultimately, this fight proves the power of spectacle in modern boxing. Controversial, unconventional, yet impossible to ignore. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe, like, and share so you never miss the latest updates from the boxing world.